Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 223 of The Rewind, a podcast dedicated to keeping its listeners on the cutting edge of the MMORPG Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. I know all of you repeat listeners know at this very moment is the time we thank all of you, the listener. But don't spoil it for all the new people. They need to be surprised when their new favorite podcast takes a moment to make them feel special too. Truly, though, thanks to everyone for your support. Next, Patreon and YouTube membership. We have these things and could use your help supporting the show. If you're in a place monetarily that you can help fund the show and like being recognized each week or want me to make fun of your terrible top 5 lists, take a look at our Adventure Party or Raid Team tiers and let us know that you want this show to continue on. Lastly, today we have our first guest of 2026. Thank goodness this guy's a night owl because it's the wee hours of the morning on his side of the globe. You may have seen his Pantheon videos under the channel Lifetaps and Backstabs, possibly seen him last month on this channel at our year-end wrap-up, or watched him teach tennis to schlubs like Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal before finding his real passion, backstabbing virtual goblins. Our newest friend Diabolu, or just Chris if you're on a first name basis like Drac and I are, because we are so cool. Now, on with the show.
The party camped under Lantern Night as new masteries awakened, reshaping their classes. Anton Duviditis, Darkmere's Shaman Glyph Keeper, chose Grave Scribe Mastery, carving runes that turned healing into warding sigils. Churodu Gnome Summoner took Menagerie Mastery, swapping one big summon for a rotating parade of tiny specialized allies. Eliv Halfling Rogue picked Whisper Step Mastery, slipping between shadows so quietly even his footsteps forgot him. Ziplock's Dark Mirror Rogue claimed Dual Shadow Mastery, chaining blinks into precise strikes that punished anyone who turned away. Annoying Llama Human Monk unlocked Tempest Fist Mastery, building momentum until his punches cracked the air like thunder. Screech Scar Bard embraced Battle Chorus Mastery, turning every verse into buffs, debuffs, and perfectly timed crescendos. Archbishop's Dwarf Paladin swore Beacon Wall Mastery, projecting a radiant shield that moved with the team like a living fortress. Dwimble Gnome Rogue chose Traprite Mastery, crafting quick snares from scrap, string, and pure spite. First, Goblin Wizard cackled and chose Trickstar Mastery, rewriting spells mid-cast with quote-unquote helpful surprises. By dawn, they were the same crew, just dangerously customized.
This week in Visionary Realms News and Notes.
All right, we're only 27 days into 2026, and this might be the biggest news day of the entire year.
What year is it?
2026.
Oh, okay. I was confused there for a second.
I know you were, but luckily I am here for you.
Oh, good. Thank you,
So, as we stated before, we have our super special guest, Diabolu. Say hello.
How you doing? Hello, everybody. Good evening, or good morning, as it is over here at the moment.
Yes. He is so excited about to talk about stuff. He has stayed up all night. He's drinking 8 cups of coffee. He is completely wired.
17 Red Bulls.
And we are ready for 6 hours of Pantheon AMA talk, because that's what we got.
Oh,
that was a lot.
So much. So many questions answered.
Yeah. If that's not enough, then we also had a blog that dropped today and also Joppa streams, which Joppa further went into detail about the AMA. So even more information. So it's
Creating
absolutely
more
crazy.
Conversations.
We're going to be talking for the next 7 hours. Here we go.
It's going to be fantastic.
You wanted Pantheon information. Here you are.
Dude, this is your week, man. So let's just dive into it. The Pantheon AMA, we kind of sorted out our favorite questions, what we kind of thought were the most important questions. There was a lot of, well, you'll see it in the spring. Like, that's great, but that's not very interesting to talk about. So these are the questions that we felt like are new or interesting to talk about. I'm just going to be the reader today, I think, is the plan.
Can Chris be the reader of the question?
Yeah, I'll read them. It's fine. Absolutely fine.
Sweet.
I've read all of them already on my videos. It's something to do with the accent, apparently.
Yeah, this is how we get all the new lady listeners.
I can smell some lady Patreons right now.
Ask me anything, talk.
All right. Let's dive into it. First question.
The first question up was asked by some random dude called Dosey70.
Never heard of him.
No, neither have I. Anyway, now that you are switched to PTR model for testing and the spring update, what about the opt-in community tester you guys had set up for last year? Is it still a thing? With respect, how effective was or are this opt-in testing? And then Nafeel replied, for the near term, we'll still continue to operate the focus testing program alongside the public test realm. They're really used for different things. Our focus testers help us to reproduce bugs and test specific fixes, while the PTR will be used for validating game mechanics, changes, balancing, and tuning. Things we need big numbers of players for to provide feedback on. We feel confident about them. We're planning to open the PTR this spring, once we have the majority of those gameplay system changes ready for testing. The exact date is still to be determined for obvious reasons, but we're making good progress, and so far everything is on track. The PTR will be active for several weeks, probably 4 to 6 weeks, so that we can evaluate the changes for the combat and progression update before we push those out to the actual live servers. Both of these events are meant to happen in the spring, however. Smiley face.
He needed a smiley face on the end of this one.
He needed a smiley face on the end of this one because this one annoyed me.
This one, I feel a little bit gaslit here.
Yeah.
I feel like they just like he tried to slide this under the table like he's one of my kids and I wasn't looking and or paying attention. And so he was like, yeah, it's no problem. 4 to 6 weeks before spring. What? You said January. 3 weeks ago, you said January. What the heck happened here? Am I the only one that feels betrayed?
No, not at all. I said right at the beginning when they put the roadmap out that we have to keep them accountable for that, and now they've already started pushing things back.
2 weeks. It's only been 2 weeks.
But again, we talked about this on the last week's episode. Like, who's playing the PTR? How many of these people are clamoring to test haste? No one. I don't care. I'm not doing this PTR. I did my years of testing. New people can do that.
I mean, it's not the end of the world. And I put this one first because I want to get the kind of the AS stuff out of the way first. But this was not great. It's not even that they change stuff because I don't care if they change things. That's totally fine. I really dislike it when they're like, hey, we're going to do this. And then all of a sudden they're just like, oh, no, this was the whole plan all along. And we're like, but it wasn't the whole plan all along because that's not what you said before. And now it just kind of seems like you've said it's the whole plan. Like, these aren't the droids we're looking for and we're being force melded or something. I don't know. But I asked Gulo, I was like, did I remember this wrong? Like, what happened here?
This falls under the new category of merch that we're about to roll out, which is the notorious TBD.
TBD.
The problem for me with this is that if you kind of actually start placing these dates in, okay, so we've got the spring update is coming out in the spring. Now we can kind of generously kind of say March to May for spring, and we were kind of like excited that it might be March. We might be starting to get some of the spring update in March. So now they've said that the PTR is going to be coming out before that, and that's going to be in March, and it's going to be live for 46 weeks. Well, the PTR is testing everything in the spring update, right? Including the mastery system, which they're still fiddling with. So the mastery system has got to be ready in 4 weeks for this to go live.
That sounds more than enough time. Are you kidding? This is plenty. That's so good.
The PTR is suddenly going into April, And then you've got another thing. We're getting into like May, June for the spring update. Come on.
The last day of spring is like June 22nd. And I guarantee you that will be the day they will push it all the way to June 22nd.
Joppa on his last stream said they had a date in mind that's not the last day of spring, but it gives them a window.
The second today, last
Yeah, the
day.
second to last day.
Yeah.
It's June 21st. All right, we know the day, boys. Let's start planning vacations.
We had to keep them accountable, and they're already slipping. I'm disappointed. I'm glad you put it first because we can get it out of the way.
I don't want to beat them over the head too much. This isn't a gargantuan thing because I think they value their internal testers more than the public testers since forever. So they've never really relied on a lot of public testing since the beginning of time. So this isn't a huge deal. This is kind of business as usual. It's a little disappointing, but not a huge thing. Let's move on to number 2.
Moving on.
Yeah, we'll forget about it in hopefully 6
Hey,
months'
if
time
they
when
nail
we're in
this,
there.
we really won't care, right?
Oh,
we
my
really...
word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sandwich Influence asked, I never fully understood why Thronefast has 4 races that start there, but Wild's End only has 2. This obviously makes it less likely to group in Wild's End as new players, and there are certainly been players who left the game after that initial frustration. An easy solution seems to be to put a temporary portal from Thronefast to Wild's End for easier grouping until all the starting zones are in. Are there any plans for something like this? So Nafil replied, that part's temporary. By 1.0, the release edition of the game, Thronefast will just be for humans, and so everything in the Wild's End will be for the halflings. Elves will start in Ferrothale. Ogres will start in Broken Moor. Darkmere in Serina's Rest. Scar will start in Scargold. Dwarves in Cadassa. Arkai in Siroa. And Gnomes in Skyhold. 9 races, 3 continents, 3 races per continent.
This is why we made Chris read it. Drac is not pronouncing
I would have
any
never
of those
pronounced
towns.
any of that correctly.
I understand why I'm on the show now.
Yeah.
And then he also added, in general, our current plan is to bring the remaining races online as we add their starting areas. For Ember and Ashen Elves, we'd like to add those options when we bring the Ferrothale zone and its corresponding starting experience online. If we get the updated visuals ready in time, our current plan is to tackle Ferrothale this year.
Another elf. Ugh.
Oh, yes, come on. Okay, now, seriously, what do you think about this?
I'm glad that they said this. The reason I put this in here is because there's been a lot of talk in the community about launching the game without 3 continents. A lot of talk.
Bad.
Because
real bad.
People, maybe even sometimes us, we look at the game and we're like, there's no possible way they could get 2 more continents done in the next 3 to 5 years. Like at the pace they're going, that's not going to happen. But they seem optimistic and they seem like they can get this done in some kind of timely fashion and they're going to release it. And if you dial the clock back, the other thing that I thought was interesting here is remember when they were adding the races in, they were going to put Ogres and Darkmere in Silent Plains, remember? And they were going to have their own little starting village in Silent Plains, and they were going to have their own little newbie area, but they didn't get it done. That was like another missed goal that VR did at the time. But so instead of all that, they just dumped them into Thronefast. So...
Well, I don't think it was going to be permanent anyway.
It was never going to be permanent. That is true. Yeah. But their goal was to make a little starting village in Silent Plains for the Ogres and the Darkmere. Because remember, they were also going to have faction hooked up. And so the Ogres and the Darkmere couldn't even go in Thronefast. And that's why they turned off all the faction. Because in pre-alpha, faction was turned on and you could get killed by the guards. But they turned it all off because they had to put the starting races in Thronefast because they didn't have anywhere else to put them.
Well, why create another newbie zone in not a newbie area just to erase it all and start it? So I don't blame them for this. This was like a cut that was necessary. Like, why are we're just muddying up the waters when we do shit like this. So it's for the best.
It is for the best. I'm really excited, obviously, about Ferrothale and getting Amber and Ashen Elves and everything. There's one thing that I think a lot of people have missed on this, though, because if you think about Thrown Fast starting area of Valia, and then you've got Wild's End, which is a starting area for the halflings, and then Ferrothale. So that's the 3 starter areas on that continent. They're all a long way from each other, right?
For sure.
So you're not, as such, going to find a halfling journey to Ferrothale to group with an elf. If you go to the races like the ogre has a dire lord, a druid, a necromancer, a shaman, and a warrior. That's it. The ogre race has no DPS. There is no DPS on the ogre.
It's going to be tough.
Continent starter area. How's that going to work? So this is going to be really interesting. If they nail the masteries.
Yeah, the Scar also don't have a lot of DPS. They have some, but not tons.
Our warrior DPS will see us through.
Yes, if they nail the masteries, it's going to be really interesting to see how, like, the ogre, not really the meta, but how the evolution of the ogre starting areas kind of evolve and form the class builds. I think it's quite interesting. And then also, like, the halflings as well. The halflings haven't got any crowd control, so if you go into some of the starter dungeons, you're going to be struggling with crowd control as a halfling as well. So I think it's quite interesting to see how that's going to develop going forwards.
And we have done this. You can do level 1 naked runs from the halfling sitting to Thronefest. Yeah, we took a group of 22 people, all level 1. It took us 2 hours, and we died a bunch of times. But if you're level 1, you don't lose experience anyway. So
that's a shame. That's a shame for the ogre starting area. If everybody's going to have to do a naked run over to, like, one of the other ones, like a Star City or something.
Absolutely.
So it's got to be contained within itself. I just find it really interesting.
I'm just saying that's an EQ thing, right? In EQ we did that, right? Because I always started a Rudite. No one ever wanted to come to my home city to start.
Yeah, Toxella Forest sucks.
Toxella Forest is the worst starting area in the history of starting areas. Now, it got better when they added the evil side of the Erudites, and they had a pretty cool starting area. But I would always go over to I'm going to say Quanos, and Diamonds is going to make fun of me.
Unbelievable.
I'm fine. I was more than happy in my Neck Forest little starter area. I was loving it.
Yeah. And so I think as long as they make it so you can do it, so you can traverse to the other cities, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's an adventure.
An early adventure.
A very early adventure.
All right, next.
Right. Clandest asked, is server sharding something to be expected in 1.0? Nafeel says, server shards as they currently exist will be going away before our 1.0 launch, and we will be using a different method to handle overpopulation issues when needed. Brilliant to hear this.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad that we went over and said this, but I always expected this, though.
Yeah. The server or the rare farm hopping from shard to shard, I think all of us think that's annoying. And it's not really, it gets around the entire point of the game, which is if your thing is camped, you're supposed to go to a different area. You're not just supposed to hop to a different server. That's not the point. So I think that's really important that they get rid of that. But I'm fine with it happening now because there's just not enough places to go right now. Like if you're at certain levels, there's some levels ranges that only have like 2 or 3 places you can go that only support like maybe 3 or 4 groups at each spot. So there's some rough levels. And I don't know how this springtime wipe, when everybody restarts at level 1 and we're all 8 to 12, that's going to be a rough go. There's not tons of places to go. That's great experience.
Better be out front or lose out.
Dude, you're going to be struggling.
There's
going to be 4 groups at Spiders. Not going to be good.
No, I think shards were a very rough bandage for the overpopulation issues that were appearing when we had the game. Anyway, it should ease with more content. I don't know whether there's going to be a little bit more content coming on with the wipe, isn't there? So hopefully we'll kind of scatter around a little bit more. I'm sure I heard them say that they were thinking about using shards for like a seamless shard. So if you did go into an area that was overpopulated, you would seamlessly kind of shift into another shard, but not that you could physically hop, because physically hopping shards is bad. I don't agree with that, but I am kind of interested to see what they do with that. I would not be sad at all to see it go away. I don't like shards.
Keep it rolling.
Okay. VTC Pub asked, any chance we get instance dungeons and or raids? So Nafeel says, it is extremely unlikely that we will ever fully instance dungeons. However, we are planning to instance boss rooms in some cases, and that will include some raid encounters as well. Our goal is to ultimately to keep the world open feel where the players are together in a shared place, but use instancing to help present more compelling and challenging fights when it makes sense to do so. And then Joppa also added to this, we will be instancing major boss encounters within dungeons. We will also be instancing the majority of our raid encounters, excluding, obviously, open world contested targets that are specifically designed to be competed for. We are also considering a specific type of dungeon that would be instanced by design and reused throughout the world in a lore-appropriate way. Nightfall Crypt is a great example of this, of what it could look like, though Nightfall Crypt would not be instanced when it launches. Beyond that single consideration, we are against instancing entire dungeons or points of interest in general.
Woo!
Hooray!
I feel like this is our second moment where they're just like, they just blew past the part where they completely changed direction on something. I'm just like, the stance for instancing was like only bosses and only raid encounters. That's it. We're never doing anything else. It's never going to happen. This is completely open world. Don't worry about it. You can take this to the bank.
And by the way, maybe,
maybe. And when they released their information about Nightfall Crypt, myself and a whole bunch of other people were like, hey, the way you're phrasing this, it kind of seems like you're talking about instancing it. And they came and they wrote things in posts, and Joppa said stuff on his stream. They're like, no, this is not instance content. That's not how it is. It's not going to be this way. And now it's kind of like, well, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's going to be that way.
Maybe we can copy and paste a dungeon on all the continents and make it an instance dungeon. Like, possibly. This is the thing that's frustrating about VR, though, right? Because they just dangle little bits of, let's just find out what the community thinks, rather than saying, no, this is our core principles. This is what we're sticking with, and this is what you're going to get.
Yes, and there is always the frustration of like, I feel like this should have been decided. I feel
in what world have we ever anchored to anything in this game?
I feel like this should be rock solid decided whether you wanted to do this or not already. Why are we? But I feel like Joppa's always in like, well, we could do this, and like,
we're still considering maybe this
nothing is closed.
The community
nothing is ever closed
on this. Yeah. It feels like you've been watching my videos a lot recently, because that's like,
Also, Nafel. Also, we do. Also, when your boss comes in behind you and just like mows you over with all different information that you posted.
It wasn't all different. It really wasn't hugely different. I think he said, Nightfall Crypt is a great example of what this could look like. He's not saying this is it, but
Nafeel did say in the Discord that he was completely against kind of instance Nightfall Crypts. So that was when the Nightfall Crypts came out, because I hung around in Discord when they dropped all the kind of dev diaries before I did my video, in case they dropped a little bit of a bean that I could include in the video. And he came out and said, no, Nightfall Crypts are not instance. They're not going to be instance.
Was this after the AMA?
Instant stuff in? No, this was before. It was when they did the Nightfall Crypt dev diary stuff.
I mean, Neff's probably just beating him with a shoe after the AMAs. And like, Joppa!
I already answered that one, bitch.
I'm the project manager now.
Love it.
Respect my authority.
Respect my authority.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just kind of up in the air. The problem is like, man, once you throw that we could instance some stuff out there to the community, man, the neckbeards are gonna eat you alive with this stuff.
Right, it's not necessary. Like, they have their core tenants. They've said that they're not going to do fully instance dungeons. It's already out there. Everybody's happy with it. Just tell us that's what we're getting, and they're going to do instance raids, which is brilliant, by the way. Instance raids encounters is fantastic.
Love it. And they've already sold everybody on instance bosses and instance raids. We're all fine with it. But then you do this, and we're like, oh boy,
It's not needed. It's not needed.
It could just be Joppa, just
I hope that's what it is.
Joppa-ing.
He's Joppa-ing. He's got his Joppa trail mix and his Joppa beanie.
Because he never wants to cut anything off.
I do what I want. I say what I want. I'm Joppa. I'm Papa Joppa.
I'm just jopping around. Jop around and find out.
You don't get to my
That's
level.
a verb in the dictionary now to Joppa.
Now on to the greatest question of the AMA.
Oh, the greatest question. Who's this guy? He must be famous.
Drakatak asked, question, is the idea for player housing on a boat, also known as a houseboat,
Houseboat!
still something that you could see the light of day for Pantheon? Question mark. Nafil replied, housing in general is a gigantically massive game system that requires a lot of work to do well. Putting that housing on a boat...
Houseboat!
adds another layer of technical challenge to something that's already big and complicated. Anything is possible in the future, of course, but to set expectations, we simply aren't going to be able to talk about housing or houseboats of any kind in any capacity until we have much more of our game built.
Houseboat.
Maybe we just need to get Dymos to ask questions about instancing because they don't seem to have any problem telling him no.
Yeah, exactly. You know who did put a houseboat in their game? Monsters and Memories.
They did?
They put a houseboat?
I may have stated to a certain developer that
inside information.
if houseboats were made, maybe I'd quit a certain game and only play one other game.
Whoa!
We'll see what happens. See what happens.
Are you jopping this houseboat thing?
I just jopping the houseboats. Got a little Eminem tag behind my name in Discord now.
You need to move over to England, buy yourself a canal boat, and just live on the canals.
There you go.
That is what I'm talking about, my man. I would love that.
Get Wi-Fi loaded up and just sit there playing Pantheon.
For the newly initiated that may not understand what we're talking about, a while ago, what's this been? 2 or 3 years? Maybe longer? 3 or 4 years? I think
Something
maybe 3
like
and
that.
a 4 year period of time. I'm sure Justin is correcting me right now. But 3 or 4 years ago, they sent out a questionnaire via email. And they were like, hey, if we were to add housing in the game, would that be something that we could use to make money with? And also, if we were to add housing to boating, would that be something that you would be interested in doing? So that is the beginning of what Dymos and I affectionately call the houseboat. And I thought it was a great idea.
I remember that email.
I don't think they specifically said adding houses to boats. I think it was 2 separate things. We have player housing, and then we also have boats. And then I put them
Did
together.
we just merge them in my own mind?
Yes.
What did you merge them in together to be?
A houseboat.
Houseboat!
I remember that email. I got it. I got the email, shook my head and said no, and then deleted it.
Well, you know, that was when we thought they were going to die and needed more cash desperately, which is probably still accurate, but...
That was probably 95% negatively received as I made my way around the community. Nobody was happy with that idea.
Until I flipped it on itself and made houseboat. Then everyone was excited.
And everyone was excited.
Do either of you like housing?
I love housing.
I do like housing.
I don't understand it in a game, so if you could explain the attraction of it, I'd be quite interested to know why.
Gotta catch them all.
There's a little Pokemon in
Is that
there.
all it is?
No.
Is
Kinda.
that having all the dragon heads on your wall and sitting there with a cup of tea in your rocking chair?
I like a record of everything of every accomplishment I've ever done. That's
Okay.
really what it is for me. So I like a visual representation of like, oh, I beat Fox. Oh, I beat Nagy. Oh, and EverQuest 2 was really good about this because you'd get
Yeah.
items from whatever dungeon bosses that you defeated, and you could place them in your house. And so then you walked in somebody's house and you'd visit it, and then you'd see what they'd done. And also, I really like the way that EQ did it, where you put your merchant in your house. So then, when somebody wanted to buy something from you, they would visit your house and they would look at your decorations, right? And then they'd click on you, and you would be the vendor, and then they'd buy your thing, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is a cool house." And so I really thought that was fun.
Because I was like, why are you going around to somebody's house rather than just going and killing another dragon? But like, yeah, if you can be a merchant, then
Yes.
fair enough. That's
Now,
a tiny little hook of okay.
yeah, but there's a post on the Reddit actually where the guy's like, why are we doing instance housing when these cities, we're having trouble populating these cities with interesting content? Why don't we just make non-instant housing in these cities and let people go at it and make interesting cities with all these people in it, right? And I think that's a great idea.
This ain't fucking Minecraft, Drac.
No, it's
That's
fine.
why.
That's the way
Throwfast.
Ashes of Creation's gone, right?
I don't know. We don't. Yeah, that's a bad word.
Oh, we're not. Is that the bad word? Good fun.
They're the enemy.
I mean, I just think like make your houses in the city, make the city look busy. The people that love doing houses will make the city look cool, and they'll have all their houses, and and then as you walk through the city, things will be happening. I think it's fun.
As I float through the city on my houseboat.
Just.
I mean, if you want to go,
hang on. Have you just invented the flying houseboat?
Yes. Yes.
if I can't have a flying mount, you don't get a flying houseboat. Next.
McShigs asked, question, are there any plans revolving around tacos, taco carts, or taco stands? Question mark. Nafeel replied, I hear that the recipe for scar tortillas is a closely guarded secret, but that could just be a rumor.
I love that my race is the keeper of the tortillas. That's fantastic.
So every once in a while, you just get that wacky question that's just kind of fun. And Nafel was chuckling about this question over in our Discord, so I had to include it. He wanted us to discuss it.
I replied.
You better be listening.
I replied because I have no idea what this means. I don't understand the obsession with the Americans have with tacos, so I Googled it. So apparently, Americans are obsessed with tacos due to their exceptional convenience, affordability, and most importantly, extreme customization, allowing them to suit nearly any dietary preference or taste. And then, of course, I've got to reference the great satirical comedy Demolition Man that has Taco Bell everywhere. So that must have some kind of social commentary relevance in it as well. So, yeah, I just don't understand the taco reference. It's not a thing over here, really.
We're just psycho. I mean, I think we all know that. Have you seen Demolition Man?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Great movie. If every fast food was replaced by Taco Bell and that was the last of the fast foods that were left, I'm probably okay with that.
Good. I'm good to go.
They've got really great breakfast.
Did you hear they're doing Demolition Man 2? And apparently Wesley Snipes is coming back for it. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, really?
Because he's like obliterated and died at the end of one.
Sign me up.
Tell me all the things that I want to hear.
Brilliant.
Because Hollywood can't write any original scripts. They're just remaking all the old movies.
I'm fine with it.
It's fine.
I want that nostalgia.
I'll be on for it. I'll watch that.
All right, cracking the whip. Keep going.
Docy70 asked, question.
Never heard of him.
I don't know either. I'm not even sure I got his name right, actually. Long ago, we had 2 moons in Pantheon. We currently only have 1. Are there still plans for a second moon? As I, as an astronomer, am very, very interested in looking at another lunar thing in the sky.
Or just stars that don't look like a oil painting.
Joppa replied, yes, Lauter and Horner will one day be visible in the skies of Terminus once again. They will come back alongside a much improved and higher resolution skybox as well.
Man, do you remember that old sky, Chris? Were you around and saw what the old sky looked like with the 2 moons?
I believe so, yeah. It wasn't something that I kind of paid attention to. I kind of noticed it when it was gone, but I can't kind of recall what it looked like. But yeah,
it was perfect.
Beautiful.
It was absolutely perfect. And this, whatever they have painted over whatever it is now is just absolute trash. If you go back and watch the Therix Rainbow video,
I'll put the link in our chat. Absolutely, you got to watch the Therix Rainbow.
You can see what the old sky used to look like.
I actually put the Therix Rainbow link on this part of the AMA, and there were several people that commented and like, that's awesome. So they hadn't seen it yet. I thought pretty much the whole community had seen it, but yeah, apparently
there's new people, and it's a 3-year-old song at this point.
There's always new people coming around. So, but Therix Rainbow, if you have not seen it, click in the links below. It is worth the watch. If you have ever watched reading Rainbow. Yeah, it's not long at all. Man Rohan and my man Daimlos, they do amazing work. All right, next.
The Wingless asked, Diddums from Foreign also asked, Torches, what's going on? I'm going to start that all over again. Right.
Yeah, that's
so Diddums from the Discord asked, Torches, what's going on with them? And
what's going on with that?
What's going on with this? Torches, what's going on? And hang on, it was because he doesn't speak English. Hang on, I'm going to read
this is written in American, Chris. You got to read it like you got to get your southern accent. Torches, what's going on and such with them in your vision, and when would you see the changes or updates?
I was expecting another word after. And it was
this here is America. We don't talk like that. We eliminate words.
We don't need punctuation. That's for old English.
First off, when it's from someone named Diddums, you know that words will be missing and complete sentences will not happen.
Fantastic. That's staying in. I'm not editing that out. Joppa replied though, and this is in actual English rather than Texan. We're not finished with torches or player light sources in general. Current plan for torches specifically. I really like this actually. We need to develop animations for torch holding. Part of what makes torches and adventuring via torchlight so immersive is actually holding them out in front of you, moving and walking and running with the torch held appropriately. Torches need to be temporary. We will be giving torches a duration, at the end of which they will burn out and stop casting light. When a torch is equipped in your inventory's light slot, whether you have it visibly sheathed or held out, it will tick away at that duration. With a torch in the light slot, it will be sheathable, just like your weapons, so you can put your weapons away and hold your torch out for vibes. But if it is sheathed, it will still throw a light. This will allow melee characters to not be disproportionately penalized when wanting to use a torch.
Drac just got the biggest torch boner of his life.
I love this. This is really cool.
No, I'm still irritated.
You got your Torch Wizard back. What else do you want?
No, I didn't. The whole thing with Torch Wizard was I was cool because I was needed because I would carry the torch because I don't have to hold 2 items. And we're taking that away.
No.
Why do we have a torch slot? A sheathable, like I'm really sticking the torch in my pocket, but I'm still gonna that's not a thing. Like I don't understand.
My immersion.
I just don't understand. Pick a lane. Either get rid of it or just come to grips with the fact that, oh my gosh, you might actually have to have a caster in your group so he can hold a torch for you. It's fine. There's all kinds of advantages that melee have that casters don't have. Why can't we have this one thing? Why can't you give me the torch?
Well, pre-alpha, when you were kind of going around, it's like, okay, well, the wizard can hold the torch.
Yeah, the wizard holds the torch. He's the torch wizard. Yeah. It's fine. What was the problem? There was no solution needed for this. The community already had it solved. And you're mucking with it because a couple of rangers, because I need to dual wield all the time and I can't run around with a torch in it because I might get jumped and dead.
I want to be able to do everything.
I want to be able to do everything all the time, and I accept no excuses. No.
It's interesting because they tend to be quite obnoxious and put lots of barriers in the game anyway.
Yeah.
And then they come out and they do.
They caved on torches?
I can. Yeah, I can. Yeah, of all the things in the game,
I
can understand.
I don't understand this. I just put torches in or leave them out. Whatever.
I think you're just bitter sauce.
I am bitter sauce. I'm very
specifically because they wanted dark nighttime as well. Like they were always
Yeah,
talking
I
about
wanted dark
nighttime,
too.
and now they've made the nighttime lighter again, and they've given everybody a torch. I can understand. Yeah.
It was fine. There were
Enough.
there was a few whiners.
You are them.
Moving
You are
on.
currently whining.
I am whining. Torch wizard dead.
Right.
Those are all of the pleb questions. Now we've gotten to the Diabolu questions. So these are like the real ones. This is the real
High level.
high level.
These are the ones I picked because I thought they would introduce a really interesting conversation rather than why haven't we got a taco cart?
Whoa. Whoa. Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's so good.
You're Thomas's new favorite friend now.
Yep. You're coming back on the show.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you get invited back right there.
That's exactly right.
Oh, dude,
Now you get the real bits of the rewind right here. That's good. That's the good.
Right.
All right, moving on.
I've got to calm down and compose myself to read the next question. Right. ZD Boulder Basher asked, abbreviated, I know there are some quests here in Pantheon. I haven't seen many new quests implemented over the past year, and there doesn't appear to be a huge amount that I've come across, apart from the starting ones that were in pre-alpha. Do you plan to be introducing hundreds of quests in the zones so we have something else to focus on instead of just the grinding for XP and the gear? Quests. Nafeel replied, one of the reasons you haven't seen many new quests coming up into the game recently is that we've been working in the background to consolidate all of our many lore documents and really provide our writers with better stuff to reference and work with when creating quests. We absolutely are planning to add more quests throughout the world, but quality is important, and in order to get that quality, we need to make sure that the writers can easily understand how their quests will fit in with the rest of the world. We also need to make sure that the world itself feels alive, so this is more about than just good quests, but it also includes things like NPC dialogue and behavior in different areas of the world. The good news is we're making a lot of progress on that effort, and so it's likely you'll start seeing more and better quests coming into the game later this year.
I got a translation for you. Are you ready?
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Let me translate that. So we fired JN.
Paused. We paused.
I'm sorry. We paused JN, and now Ronick is completely rewriting all the lore.
Oh
and he's got to get his crap together so we can write some quests.
Go Ronick.
You think JN was like, oh, you can't pause me. I'm taking all this shit with me. Deleted.
No,
just to wipe the whole hard drive.
I'm sure JN's probably writing a novel. He's probably got a Lord of the Rings trilogy since the last time they asked him to write lore. He's probably off doing movies or something in Hollywood. I don't know, something else. I'm sure he just moved on. And so they got Ronick to come in and do lore, and Ronick's like, I don't know if I can work with this. I'm just going to have to redo the whole thing.
Wow.
And that kind of seems like more what's going on to me.
You bet that just better be the most made up bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
Listen, all we do on this show is make stuff up and then it becomes true.
Unfortunately, that is true. That is 100% fact. We just make shit up and it becomes accurate. It's very silly how that happens.
We have no
This
actual.
better not be one of them.
We have no actual proof that that's actually what's happening, but that's just like when somebody
Allegedly.
says we need to make sure that it's all amazing. That's just kind of code for we don't know what we're doing.
We got to
And
write it all again.
we haven't written anything down.
I'm telling you, JN hit the delete button on the lore server.
He probably did. They're probably going back to scrape Derek's lore videos right now. They're like, what is Derek?
Pause this,
God.
motherfucker. Deleted.
All those lore YouTubers who are reading out all the lore. They're quickly
Yeah.
typing it all out.
Theric, please come back and write. That's probably what Theric's doing right now. He's probably writing more for VR.
Oh, maybe he's working for VR. He just hasn't told us.
That's the new rumor.
Let's start that.
He's
rumor
not
in
making a
20
board
minutes.
game anymore. He's
No,
writing lore.
He's writing lore for Pantheon. All right.
I want to write quests. I'm going to write quests. I'm going to do a video.
All
where I
right.
just write
Well,
quests
let's hear
for
a
an
little bit
hour.
more optimistic view, maybe. What do you think, Diabolu?
I think they've just deleted all the old lore and they need to kind of go back into the game and rewrite it.
Oh, no. So you have the same take. Yes.
No, I don't know. I've been kind of raving about the quest. They need some quests to kind of guide. Like, I know they don't want quests to kind of guide you through the world in the same way that, okay, go to this area, then go to this area, go to this area.
Mm-hmm.
But
No
I want some interaction with the world. Like the biggest one for me is your trainers. Like I want to be able to take something back to my trainer and he will give me like a little nod and said, oh, I know where this is from. Like this little rock that you've just found, or I've just pickpocketed something on my rogue and I take it back to my trainer and he said, this is for a poison that so-and-so crafted 10,000 years ago. If you go over here and get me this ingredient, I'll show you how to make this particular poison. Like I want quests that take you into the game and take you into the world and allow you to explore it without having to go to this area, go to this area, go to this area, go to this area. So I think this is a really good idea. And I'm excited. I just really hope, again, it's one of those things where I really hope they execute it in the way that I've got in my head, because in my head it's really cool.
I think you're one of those quest guys. I think you would fit with VR because their idea of quests is like this grand puzzle where they offer slight written clues. Think about it. And if you know the lore over here and you know the lore over there, then it'll all come together in your own mind and you can put it together and presto whammo, you can complete the quest. Man, that's great for you guys. That is not me. My favorite quest in EverQuest is bandit sashes.
That is giving you a purpose.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very small purpose because all you've got to do is go and kill some sashes. But that quest line gave you something to do when you logged on. It's exactly the same. It doesn't matter how big the quest line is or how important it sounds. Like there is a quest line in the Enclave where you start in the trenches and you go into the Enclave and you learn all about the reasons why all the ash breathers are outside and then all the other ones are inside, and you learn all about the gods, the named characters and the named NPCs in the Enclave. And then halfway through the quest kind of, it doesn't stop, but it there's like an absolute barrier to trying to get through to the next part, and you kind of trying to do sort of guesswork to try and get it. So the lore kind of falls off there, but the lore going up to it is so exciting and so interesting, and it kind of leads you all the way through. But I just want more of it. Like the game is so good when it's good, and I just want more of that good.
And not everything has to be like super overcomplicated, tied to the lore. Sometimes it's just,
Nope.
I'm a guy that is buying bandit sashes because I don't like bandits. And I'll
like
pay
if you just dinged level 8 on your summoner and you just got a bandit camp sash and you take it back to your summoner trainer and he goes, oh, thank you very much, that's really, really cool. Here, have a little good bit of gold and have a sword because like the sash is really cool. By the way, you know the goblins over there, they've got sashes as well. And
absolutely.
They're slightly more powerful. Like they've got like a little bit of magical energy in them. If you go and get me one of those sashes, I'll show you how you can use that to put it into your pet.
Dude, I'd be delighted.
Giving you another purpose, right?
Love it. That would be
Just
amazing.
keep going.
And that's just little quick stuff. It doesn't have to be the full tree of perception and, you know, arcs and weaves. Just give me a little something. Give me a little something to interact with town. That's all I need.
We're moving on. Next question.
Auxiliary asked, what can we expect from a new reputation system? Joppa replied, when the time comes to enable faction reputation more broadly throughout the game, players will experience it in a few main ways. Namely, players will find themselves unwelcome or the recipient of hostile actions in places where NPCs have an opposing faction to their chosen race. For example, ogres will no longer be welcome in Avelia and Demith. It will be more important to use the consider mechanic at the stage where you're entering new places to make sure you are welcome there. Certain vendors will be locked behind the reputation values, meaning you will need to get friendly enough with them before you will be able to sell to them, or before they will even open up special selections of infantry. Dialogue options in certain quests will be triggered by having a high enough or low enough faction. And then Joppa also added, however, not having these faction accommodating spaces is just as much part of a designing an area in a compelling way as having them. Just like you said above, It's like a really cool thing for a Dartmoor or a Scar to intentionally devote time into improving their reputation by going and getting sashes and handing them in for swords, to the point they can enter a village like Demith and bank there.
Yes. Daimlo's like this.
Yeah.
This is good.
Love reputation. Yeah. I'm all for this type of stuff.
This is very EQ2-esque. This was like every expansion in EQ2 after a certain point. It was just get your reputation up, get the quest line, and go. This is good.
But you don't have to, right? If you're me and you're like, I'm never going in the elf city. I don't care about the elves, whatever. Pretty much.
You heard him.
So I'm not doing that. I'm not going to grind out 8 hours worth of elves to be in the elves. It's not happening. So I get to pick and choose what I want.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how it might affect the hubs and where people congregate. So you end up with, like, obviously at the moment everybody gathers in Demith. Once we get like a little bit more population in there, like what are going to be the hubs that everybody congregates? Like we do, Avelia at the moment is anything like sub-level 10. Demith is from like 10 to about 20, 30, and then everybody goes to Silent Plains and hangs out in Skydurban from 30 up to 50. Like, where are those little congregations going to be? And are you going to have to go and, because if everybody congregates in Demith, we're going to have to go and do the reputations so that we can kind of hang out with everybody, and that's where you kind of socialize and you meet 100%.
Up. Well, the big cities, so I may have to take this back, because the big cities are going to be where the auction houses are. The 3 separate auction houses. So everybody may want to get the elf just so you can use the auction house. Now that I'm thinking about it, I may have to actually do the elf.
Haha.
No, you said you didn't want. You said you weren't interested.
Well,
so
I like money more than I hate elves. Sorry.
But also, how cool was it in EverQuest when you were a new Ixar and you saw some human hanging out in Catalyst? Like that's just a cool thing. Like, how do you do that? Like, you want to know that. So I think it's cool, but it needs to be more.
Again, it's that thing, isn't it? Again, it's more. It's like the game is really good. It just needs to be more. It'd be really interesting to see how quickly you can shift your faction as well, because like you can be non-kill on site to bolt for killing one Wandering Wild spell. So how are they going to kind of get that formula in for shifting your reputation?
We actually have to put quests in the game before we can have them alter faction, though.
What? Next question.
Usual Repair 4175 asked, will we be able to choose the stats on the items we craft in the future? And Nafil said, it will be a bit of a combination of the two. You will have some flexibility in terms of stat options on uncommon quality crafted items. Think of these as your average crafted items, although it won't be completely free form. As you graduate into creating rare or legendary items, their requirements will become more specific, and the item you get will be more powerful. It will also be more bespoke in terms of its stats. This is necessary in order to ensure that we can keep looted items and crafted items at a similar level in terms of power and desirability all the way up. Ultimately, we think we can achieve a healthy mix, especially as our game world grows and there are more and more areas for players to explore. Drac, how do you feel about crafting?
I hate crafting, but I love gathering. So, yeah, I'm a huge gatherer. Mostly because I can sell gathered items on the auction houses for buku bucks. So
auction house, right?
I am all about scamming elves on the elf auction house. That is my absolute most favorite thing to do.
Diabolu, he said he was going to scam me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I get part of that money, so I want him to.
He takes a cut, absolutely. Now, the other thing is, and do you guys remember this? This was a long time ago. Remember when they had the different materials? They had the different metals and the different colored metals, and there was like a red one, and there was green ones, and there was blue ones, and then they showed the completed items, and so you could, and then when they talked about that, they inferenced that the different types of metals would give you the different properties on the back end. So this has been planned for a long time, and I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I want crafted armor to look different. I want it to have a purpose. And I think having different items produce different effects is great. I like that way better than the crafter gets to choose what stats are on each item itself.
Yeah.
Because obviously every crafter is going to pick the perfect stats,
Yeah.
which is kind of eh.
Yep, you don't get that. Sorry, crafters.
No, I think it's cool. I do like the idea of kind of doing the rare and the legendary items as well. And I think the fact that they're going to bring in failure into crafting as well is going to be a lot better to control the amount of crafted items that get into the economy. And obviously it's going to be really good for the auction house as well. So you can kind of fill little gaps in your gear slots. So I think crafting is going to be really important. It's going to be aesthetic exciting. So I'm still planning out what my classes are all going to craft and what trade skills they're going to do.
Don't worry, it's just going to get wiped.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the last question we have to cover. I thought maybe we'd end just with like how did you feel the AMA went overall? Do you think it was a good idea? Like, did you like it? Daimless, we'll start with you.
Yeah, of course it was good. It's good to hear a lot of these things shored up. Hopefully we'll put to rest questions that we keep getting over and over and over again.
There were some wipe questions in there too. Yeah,
of course there were.
We didn't include those.
I'm just so sick of just answering the same question. I'm sure Joppa is too. So hopefully he'll just like, here's the link to the AMA. Go read this shit. Stop asking me this question, and we can go on with the streams.
The AMA was fine. Like as long as when you start getting more and more players and you get more and more of an audience, you kind of need to. I understand that you kind of need to take advantage of all the different aspects of where you can answer questions. Yep. It's great. We got some questions answered, most of which we knew the answers to, so it was fun.
Here's my thing. First of all, I just dislike Reddit all the way. The system for the AMA was a hot mess. The answers weren't updating as they were answering them, and like it was just a mess to try to keep track of where they were, what they were doing. The AMAs in the past.
How does it work? You get asked a question and they reply in a comment. Is that how it works?
No, yeah, and then they mark the question as answered, and there's an answered tab in that AMA. So there's the front page, which is just everybody's comments. Yeah, so you didn't even get to it because you don't know, and that's 90%.
I just want them to do a YouTube. They just need to do a YouTube Q&A.
Yeah, that is the solution. That's the best AMAs that I've ever heard. You collect 150 questions, which they had, and then Neff and Joppa sit on the screen. They read the question and then they answer it. They used to do it.
Dude, it was brilliant.
We used to have a whole show dedicated to their things. We had Pantheon.
I used to watch it.
Yeah, we used to have the whole show where we followed the dev doing their questions and answers, and then we'd hop on and we'd say, we like this, we didn't like that, blah, 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 blah.
And I brought it up to Joppa a number of times in the stream that they need to start doing that sort of thing again because it's community interaction. It's the best way of doing community interaction.
That was their best thing.
I don't understand the Reddit thing. It was fine.
But it definitely needs to be more structured. Yeah, if they go back to that sort of format.
I mean, it doesn't even work in Discord, does it? Because the Discord questions just go so quickly. No. So they need to just pick out. There's an Ask Me Anything thread in Discord to put questions in that they can then pick out.
Oh, don't even get us started on that. Do you know they closed that down?
Yeah.
It's
making me cross now.
They disabled it because they don't want people actually asking questions.
Hey, Joppa, you get me so excited about classes and abilities. When you say you're someone, I'll come and friends for me. Hey, Joppa, I hope your words were pure gold. My broken heart is my fault, so now I carry around an extra shaker of salt. Hey, Joppa.
All right, Joppa says. So just in case you didn't get enough AMA questions, Joppa has opened up his 4-hour stream this week to also clarify all the other questions that you didn't get answered or you wanted more clarification on. And also, I moved the biggest whopper question of them all, the number one thing that blew everybody's mind on this AMA to this section, because Joppa extensively talked about mastery in his stream. So we didn't forget about it. We didn't skip it. We didn't dodge it. It's just coming. So let's get into this. So Joppa started out with, he doesn't understand Reddit. And I'm right there with you, Joppa. None of us understand Reddit. Why are you running an AMA on a platform that you do not understand? Why?
I think he just doesn't understand the concept of Reddit. Why would I go to a place to just constantly be shit on?
I mean, maybe the whole thing was just a little confusing, and I get it. Unless you live on Reddit, you are lost.
And if you live on Reddit, you're lost.
Yeah, you're probably not listening to this show. So, number 2, I thought this was interesting. He's shooting for starting quests for all classes. Not all the classes have starting quests for the spring update. So I think that'll be fun. Every single class having a starting quest.
You know what I think about quests? Brilliant.
Brilliant. More quests, more better. Are masteries going to be behind multi-group content or raids? And he said no. There will be no masteries that will be unlocked via multi-group content. However, there may be abilities that are unlocked via multi-group content, which they've said before. There will be certain drops of spells and skills, or maybe research items that you need as part of the quest for spells and skills on multi-group /raid content. And I also think it's hilarious that now the entire community is using the word multi-group content.
Is that the new Chevron?
You needed to kill this thing because now it's growing and it's going to consume you. Are you good with both of these? Masteries, no. Abilities, yes, on the raid content. Downloads, you're the raider.
Yeah, no, this is good. You should have things behind multi-group content raids. This is very important. It's why we do raiding, is to get the high-end stuff. So, yeah, of course.
Would you be good with masteries behind it, too?
Yeah, 100%. Do a raid, kill a dragon to get stuff. Why?
I'm struggling to see how this is going to link into a mastery. Like, if you want to be a better tank, you have to go and tank a dragon so that you can then unlock dragon tank.
I mean, I guess that's an example of something like that.
That's quite a cool idea. That's actually quite cool. I've sold myself on it. That sounds quite cool, actually.
To separate your raid tanks, your raid DPS, you should have to do it first, and then you get that skill. If they don't do it, I'm fine with it too. It doesn't matter to me, but I do like the idea of having stuff behind a raid wall.
For the high end stuff, yeah, I can see it. Like, I can see like a cleric. You see a cleric, and you can understand that cleric is the absolute dog's bollocks of clerics, because he's got some tome that he's unlocked through his masteries, which can only be done by multi-group content. Why are we calling it multi-group content and it's not a raid? Why?
Because there aren't raids in Pantheon yet.
Oh, is that the only reason?
They don't have a UI to support raids. They don't have the mechanic to form a raid. Like, there's no...
So it's called a multi-group content.
So it's called multi-group content because you're literally taking multiple groups that are not together in a raid and shoving them at whatever you're doing.
That is
it's
the
so
sound
sad.
of me smacking my head on my
Yep.
Oh, my word.
This is the lore we weave.
There's a couple of things that Dimos and I feel like they should have nailed before the spring content that's not going to be in at the spring content even. They should have had this dialed in years ago, and they have not done it. And I think it's going to come back to bite them in the butt. One is Need for Greed looting. It's insane to me that that's not in the game. It feels terrible. And 2 is the ability to form a raid. This is absolutely insane. You have quasi-raid targets already in the game. You should be able to go raid them.
The fact that we just didn't take 15 minutes to figure this out is just beyond me.
And be able to log out and log back in again within 30 seconds.
Well, that's yeah. It's fine.
Probably pushing it a bit too much, right?
A little bit.
Hey, that's supposed to be in the spring update. That's spring. That was a spring updater.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We don't know what's going to be in for the spring update at this rate.
Joppa also wants you to know that mastery is highbrow material. So he's still taking feedback on all the mastery stuff. Everything is still on the table, boys, because we're still in discussions.
Because we don't anchor to anything, so everything's always in the air.
It's
all
on
the
the
time.
table. It's on the table.
It's fine.
It's fine.
That's how we've rolled for 12 years.
It's not like this is an absolutely critical part of the game which is going to send shockwaves through the entire game meta and builds and classes and abilities or anything. It's fine.
Definitely
We're still
not.
taking feedback 4 weeks out from a spring update.
Yep, never lock it in.
This is why you get along with us so well, right?
Yep. This is our whole show.
The inner bitterness.
Yeah. It's tough.
All right.
It's tough to keep that separated.
All
I'm
right.
very excited for this game. I hope it comes across.
Oh
on
no,
video
it's
and
great.
things
We
like
all
this.
love it. But
It's just there's certain things which are just
Just get it done.
speaking of certain things that are still up in the air, why don't you read VTC Pub and the bomb that was dropped afterwards?
okay. Right, here we go. I'm going to try and get through all the way through this without being triggered. VTC Pub asked question: any plans to make all classes? Will you stop laughing? Have viable DPS and not? I said stop laughing.
I'm
and
sorry.
not
You
hard
tell me,
locking
when you tell me
them
to stop
one
laughing,
job.
I'm going to keep laughing.
For example, I know warrior class is a tank, and I agree that tanks should do little damage, and I'm fine with that, and I think it's the right approach. What I would like to see is that this warrior class can be used on par with other real DPS classes if it is played as DPS. I think World of Warcraft made it right to enable all classes to be able to DPS if the spec was right. I know Pantheon does not have class specs, but I think this could be achieved with optimizing skills and abilities. And please. Joppa then went on to reply, the design of the mastery system has evolved to the point where, yes, through mastery, warriors will be able to lean fully into enhancing their defensive and tank-related capabilities, or lean fully into a DPS-orientated mastery expression that will allow them to perform at the level of a true DPS class, while sacrificing the effectiveness of their tanking. We are approaching each class uniquely. Don't expect non-DPS classes to have a DPS spec, but with this framework in mind, you can expect to see things like a healer-orientated paladin, a tank-orientated monk, or a CC-orientated rogue, etc.
So that's the big enchilada. That is what they've said for years, that they were not going to let classes take over primary roles of other classes. And this kind of seems like a complete backtrack.
Yay!
I know it's frustrating, but I'll let Diabolu go first while I try to contain myself.
So the mastery system is really exciting. It's a really positive change for all the classes and all the abilities in the game. I could do, and I have done, loads of videos about this because it just gets me really kind of into the game and thinking about the classes and how they're all going to work. There are few, very, very limited number of classes where this is going to start being a problem if they start doing things like this. Now, most of the classes, you can kind of see where the 3 mastery paths are going to go. And he even randomly said that some of the classes won't even have 3 paths. Some of them will only have 2, which is just bizarre. If you can see where most of them are going to have those 3 paths, for instance, a cleric, you can see having like a buff path, a heal path, and like a smite path, like a smiting undead, or even like not the buff path, like you can have like a bit of a battle cleric. Like you've got 3 clear paths for that. The enchanter, you can quite clearly go like a little bit more crowd control, a little bit more towards the charm direction and things like that. Where we get problems is when we think and bump into things like the monk and then the 3 tanks and maybe the summoner now, because they've dropped the summoner earth pet behind a mastery as well. If they are then able to do their main role as well as doing some DPS, or do their main role, which is DPS, and then also tank like a monk or a summoner, then we start having classes that can do 2 things in a group, and we're going to get into real problems of the community perception of those classes within the game. So it's happened before. It happened in pre-alpha. The example was the shaman. The shaman had a mastery system when it was in pre-alpha where the mastery systems could be applied to their abilities. So the shaman had a mastery ability where you could make the heal over time better. the community and the game perceived that if the shaman didn't have that mastery in his ability, then he was useless and he wasn't welcome in the group. So all the looking for groups were shaman with this ability, right? So if you end up having a perceived class that can only be taken in a group with this particular mastery system set out, and that is making it so overpowered that it can tank and DPS, or for the paladin it can tank and heal, then you're limiting and you're really damaging the community as a whole, and you're damaging the game and the class roles and the class abilities and how the classes feel, because you're leaning into and overlapping other classes in the game. That's a lot of words. What do you think?
I agree 100%.
Drax about to lose
With
it.
everything that you just said. I'm just going to take it further. I'm going to say what Joppa said specifically that he's not doing, which is you're basically just abolishing classes. That's what you're doing. You're just getting rid of classes because you're just saying, hey, through mastery, I do what I want. I'm a warrior. I DPS. I don't care. And
damn right.
And
I do
what I want. Which
to add on to that, if they do kind of do it in inverted commas properly, how I think they're going to do it, like how I think they should do it, like the warrior is absolutely fine in having a DPS role / mastery within his tree, right? Like I haven't got a problem with a warrior with a massive two-handed axe screaming at the mob saying, hit me, like I'm your tank, ah! And he's not in the plate armor, he's not in heavy plate because he hasn't gone down the full tank path, so he's going to be having less damage mitigation, he's going to need to be healed more, but he's got a big axe, and that's a play style. I want a big double-handed axe as a warrior. I want to be berserk, right? That's a role as long as he can still be a tank.
No, it's eating a DPS role.
Now you're eating a
no,
DPS.
he's not, because he's tanking. He's still tanking.
Why don't you just make a berserker class? If you really wanted to do this, you should have just made a berserker class, and you should have had a two-handed DPS class, and that was your solution. I don't like the mixing of everything. I want my class to be my class, and I don't want people in it. I want the most frustrating thing of World of Warcraft was when you had either a hunter or a DPS warrior rolling on your mage gear because they were DPS. And and so on the raid, they're rolling against the trinket that you need because it's +% damage. And all of a sudden there's 18 people because they can switch back and forth. And I don't care what they say. There's two options because they say it's going to be hard to change back and forth. You know what? WoW said it was hard to change back and forth, but people did it all the time because there's only two options. It's either one, you make it so prohibitive that none of the newbie people are ever going to be able to make a mastery change, or two, you make it so light that your high-end raid guilds do not care because it's going to be such a small amount because they're going to be pooling your resources. So it could be 5 gold and it's not going to matter to them because they're going to be like, no, I want my warrior to be able to switch back and forth at will. Yep. And so you're making it trivial, and you are allowing a dual spec. The very thing that you said you're not doing, you are allowing. You're just only allowing it for certain people who can bypass your supposed,
classes.
It's for certain classes, and it's going to
certain classes. It's irrelevant for the ranger. The ranger, what's the ranger going to do?
What's the wizard going to do? I don't get anything out of this.
Yeah,
it's irritating.
The enchanter, if you can flex the chanter into a DPS, you suddenly end up with a wizard with mana regen.
Yeah, 100%.
It's bordering on dangerous, and it is, like I said, it's going to kill the community perception of all the classes going forwards. And we're going to see, like when the shaman came out and it had that ridiculously powerful heal over time, everybody played the shaman. The only healers you could find were shamans. So if we end up with paladin that can heal really, really well and tank at the same time, you're not going to see clerics, shamans, and druids.
And if you remember,
path of least resistance.
The shaman were also super DPS at the time.
Yeah,
remember? Because we ran a 1 Dire Lord 5 shaman group for that whole session because they were the ultimate class and everybody knew it. So everybody only wanted shaman. So we ran 1 Dire Lord and 5 shaman. That was how we ran that whole session.
And this is one of those occasions where Visionary Realms need to come out and say, this is how this works.
Yeah, I don't like it.
They can't keep dangling for information. They can't keep dangling for feedback.
And looking down the road.
But that makes hot content.
Yeah, it does. Looking down the road, every expansion, every time we add more and more content to this game, we're going to have to deal with all this stuff. We're going to have to deal with all these DPS warriors. We're going to have to deal with all these off specs. We're going to have to try to balance them. And I guarantee you there's going to be holes and people are going to exploit it. I don't like this type of stuff. In the past, no MMO company that I can remember has made this work well. It's always been a bad idea, and I just still think it's a bad idea. I've looked at other MMO companies fail on this, and I don't see anything in VR that tells me that they have a better plan for this, and I just think it's a bad plan. I think it's a bad plan all around. From a company that can't even get all the spells and skills for their classes in the game to begin with. But yet you want to change the fundamental direction, and you're just going to magically have this out by spring. I just think this is a bad plan.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like this is going to be dropping on the PTR, which is coming out in spring, and then another 4-6 weeks before the actual spring update comes out, and they haven't even got the actual mastery system. And then Joppa on his stream yesterday was even talking about whether the mastery should be like a spherical idea, and you can have branches going off it rather than a line. He still doesn't know what he's doing. I just think about poor little Jimmy who comes and plays in the game and he sees the warrior and he goes, oh, this is really cool. I'm going to be a warrior with loads of armor and a big shield and a little sword and I'm going to stab the mob. And then all the groups that he wants to join say, no, I'm sorry, we want the DPS warrior. Why would we take you? You don't do any damage. We're chasing DPS. We
can pass him enough leather armor to make it work and we can just roll through content. This is what happened literally in WoW over time.
And they've got to remember that the game has to have longevity. So we have to think of the mastery system like this 3 months down the line. And this is one of the things that they don't do. They think that this little one and done journey is so exciting that it's going to keep us fulfilled for another 4 months. It's not. No, the one and done journey is done. That's finished. We've done that little bit. We've taken our mastery path. Done. Right. Let's go and do whatever content we've got left.
I'm going to lock in the most effective thing.
Yeah,
100%.
Time loss is very quiet.
Oh, that's fine. It's totally fine.
We're sitting here raging, and he's like, "Yes, I agree. I wish I had a mustache."
But you two have my same opinion. So like, the show can't be 3 hours of all three of us having the same opinion, right?
In this little group, we are 100% in agreement that this is silly.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Big time.
They are still doing it.
They're still doing it.
When are they going to learn?
I don't know.
It's because we can't anchor to anything.
Every single VR dev needs to listen to this podcast.
That'll never.
We
happen.
could save them so much pain.
I did a video on this 3 years ago on my YouTube channel. So I've been there, done that. I redone the video today because I was so cross about it. So
100%. All right, we got to keep moving. Joppa said flexing is still in, yes. So not only are we mastering our way into other complete roles, we're also flexing at the same time.
I hope it's the same. I hope him saying flexing and this.
No, because then he said
all the same.
Some classes flex into their mastery to reach their final form.
I've just gone Super Saiyan.
I think that's exactly the thought that I had. Are we doing Naruto or whoever he is, and we rip our shirt off and explode or something? I don't know what. I just don't know. He did say that it's for very specific classes, and not everybody will be able to flex into everything, which is a lot.
It kind of makes sense. You can kind of, like I was saying, you can kind of see which classes are the danger ones where you can flex a long way, and they tend to be all the tanks, and then a couple of the DPS ones.
I mean, to be fair, the tanks do need the most. If you're gonna make classes flex, the tanks need the most flexing because they're the ones that get left out of raids, right? Because
not everybody can be the tank.
You go into a raid and you got 2 tanks, and you're like, all the other tanks get to suck it. Stay home.
Pretty much.
So they get the short end of the stick. So I mean, I guess there's that, but I just don't. I think you have to just make your character with that in mind. If you want to, all the tanks I knew in EverQuest had their warrior was their raid warrior, and that was their raid character, and then they had some other summoner or druid on the side that they went and like farmed stuff with. Like no sane person would farm things with a warrior. So it's fine.
That is a great phrase. It's fine.
It's fine.
A warrior can't heal. A warrior can't solo. That's fine.
It's fine.
It's absolutely fine.
Not every class has to have a torch. It's fine.
No. It's fine. Yeah.
All right. These are the confirmed ones we know about that can flex mastery into other roles. You have the DPS warrior, which was the example. You have the smite cleric. You have the healer paladin. You have the avoidance tank monk. And you have the ranger, which the ranger one was way different because he didn't actually flex into a different role. He just flexed into different types of what he's doing.
His role.
Yes. He flexed
into the ranger is the kind of the way that I think they need to start thinking about it, because the ranger has a role. And the flexing, well, it's not even flexing. The mastery system for the ranger applies and gives him different ways to do his role. So
how he does his role
to be pure range. He can either be jumping into combat. Same with the rogue. The rogue. Well, I mean, I don't know the rogue, but the kind of the mock-ups that I've done give you 3 different ways that you can play your class, rather than like just flexing way out of your
You're
role.
A better enchanter that doesn't need mana. 100%. Okay, your warrior holds 2 swords instead of a sword and a shield, but now parry is your thing, right? You are the parry king. You parry everything. You're freaking parry left, right hand. All the parries happen with your warrior.
Shield and sword. You've got the shield block. That's
you got the block.
Take your heavy plate with.
Yeah, and then you make some really cool 2-handed weapons with like shields built onto the 2-handed weapons or something like that.
Yep.
Like this could totally happen. That's how you should have done the mastery, is different ways for you to accomplish the main purpose of your class. Well, the community.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
The community has been peppering Joppa with all the questions, and some people are not very happy about this. So
what? No, people are not happy with this.
You know why they've been peppering it with questions? Because he said that mastery is still open for debate and we're ready to take questions.
He backed off a little bit. I think he was feeling a little beat down. So he said, this is kind of paraphrasing, but the DPS warrior, if it's fully geared out and he's an excellent player, then that will be equal to an average DPS player. Maybe as good as an average DPS player. Which then I'm like, if you are a person with amazing gear and amazing skill, why would you ever freaking do that? Why did you do that? People with amazing gear and amazing skill want to be the best. They want the high numbers. They want the ultimate tanking. They want the ultimate healing. They do not want to be second tier DPS.
With the greatest respect, okay, DPS is pressing buttons in a rotation. You do not need high skill to press buttons.
Whoa!
No, you do not need amazing skill to press buttons in a rotation to do high DPS. You need good skill expression to be able to do things like control mobs when they're coming in as a tag, or control mobs when they're coming in as an ad, or pull off a mob for an off tank, or mez a mob when it's coming in, or control which direction the mobs are going to coming in, or go and prevent this mob from hitting your healer. If you're going to be able to flex your warrior to a DPS class just by being able to press that DPS button, no.
Ain't nobody doing that.
Come on.
I don't know.
I do want to reiterate that basically you said to be a wizard, you need low intelligence. Not the stat intelligence, just your own humanity
is it 3 buttons
intelligence.
or 4 buttons for a wizard? Hey, at least it's not a summoner. Summoners are 2 buttons.
They are definitely 2 buttons.
Pet attack.
Assist.
Pet damage shield.
Honestly, the summoner changes actually look really exciting.
Joppa said, quote, I don't think mastery / flexing dilutes, and this is a whole new word,
Oh, dear.
role identity. As long as each class does its thing in a unique way and vibe. And he went on to describe how role identity is different than class identity. And so, therefore, role identity can be changed without the class identity to be changed. Because if you're a warrior and you still swing the sword, then you're still a warrior, even if you're DPS.
Yeah, this is so bad.
So hang on.
This is why you have to pick a lane and just go. Like, we can't be asking for more questions and more input.
If you DPS in a unique way as a warrior, then it... Hang on, what?
Yeah, it's...
So
it's a hang on what situation.
Your role identity is different than your class identity. So therefore, if you change your role identity, so your role being
a tank.
A tank, yeah. So you're a DPS now, but you still act like a warrior. You still are, and you swing the swords. Then you're still a warrior
in a unique way.
Well, in a unique way to the warrior. So you're still doing it like a warrior. You're not doing it like a rogue. So that still makes you a warrior because DPS or tanking doesn't make you a warrior. It's your role identity.
Because you're swinging
great.
Big axe rather than stabbing with a little dagger.
Yes.
Because
I can see the wheels turning.
I took your role.
Vibe.
That's the
I took your role. I took your role identity. Oh my!
But you can't take mine. That's the best part. Is I've taken yours, but you can't take mine.
No, I can. I can take yours because
we're just going to roll summoner.
Maybe the rogue mastery gives me an avoidance dodge tank ability.
Nope.
And then I can.
But instead,
just dodge.
Instead, I can take your role. You can't take mine. But instead, you can take this enchanter role, and they can't take yours.
Yes.
Like, this is a giant circle jerk of stealing people's roles and not being able to go back.
That's why Diabolu is so quiet, because he's the one that's benefiting from all this.
Oh, big time. I love it. I can do whatever I want, and I can take whatever role I want, and no one else can take my shit, because my shit is mine.
He's going to be rolling on all the gear. That's what this really comes down to. Joppa's rolling on all my cloth.
Yep. Suck it.
Is this one of those situations where we pulled a quote out of context and just tried to break it down and it doesn't work?
That is not a quote. That is me summarizing, just to be fair. Now, Vendini always tells me that I get everything wrong, so I could be off, but I think it's pretty close.
Joppa's streams are more dangerous than anything else in the community at this point.
They always have been.
Again.
That's why we have this show. That we want them dangerous, so we can have a show.
Do you have anything else you want to say about Mastery? Get it out now.
Oh, God, no. No.
All right.
Do a video about it next week.
Can we just get it done so we can roll it out so we can break it so then we can try and fix it? That's really what it all comes down to.
Ultimately, I think the mastery needs to come out so that they can then, sadly, turn all the dials and dial everything back if they've gone too far. The downside to that is that the whole community is just going to go, they've nerfed my class, blah, blah, blah. So
yeah, I think ultimately where this leads is that those flexing classes into other roles, they're not going to be good.
No.
Nope.
I think they're going to be real bad.
To hell. Like, the Dialord was really fun and interesting at one point, and then they just kind of dialed it all back. And
they're just going to be bad DPS. That's where this is going, which is sad.
Yeah, we're spending all these resources to make things bad.
Yeah, you're kind of duping your player base into making a DPS warrior when I don't think it's actually going to happen.
It'll happen
in any real way. That
ain't nobody gonna want it.
Ain't nobody gonna want it. Yeah, you're rep palading your community into oblivion. It's awful.
Yep.
Feign death. We got to get this in here because Joppa talked a lot about feign death. Feign death for the necromancer.
Oh my God,
yes. Feign death for the dire lord. Maybe. Success rate. So in EverQuest, after you got over 100 skill, which if you maxed out at level 20. You were over 100 skill, and at that rate, you were 95% successful at feign deathing, which is not the current way it is in Pantheon.
Nope.
Because they stretched it out all the way to level 50. So what they need to do is, according to Joppa, is they got to jam it all back down. So when you hit level 20, level 25, then you basically reach 90-95% success rate. So then it's actually useful to do some things. The feign death versus a mob is a skill check.
Yep.
Versus feign death, but to see if the mob realizes that you faked it when you jump back up, that is a check versus the mob itself.
Yep.
I guess that's my understanding of how he put it.
I'm really excited for the Necro feign death, particularly if it's in its current state. Yeah, feign death of the Necro is really, really cool. I'm excited about that. The Dire Lord, I think, will be very, very OP and broken if they do give it to the Dire Lord.
He's got to have something.
It's just formulas, right? Like, it's just working out a formula.
Right.
It's throwing numbers into a spreadsheet, which should have been done 10 years ago when
it's more complicated than you could possibly imagine, Diabolu. Come on,
the most complicated thing ever invented in any MMO of all time.
You don't understand that it coordinates with the setting of the sun, and so if you feign death while there's a full moon,
the moonlight twinkles in their eye for just 1 second, and you can pull the other one at that exact moment of moonlight.
He literally said it was a skill check on skill check value of 100, and if you roll over 95, then that's when you fail. Or if you roll under a 5, that's when you fail because it's 95%.
That's what he wants it to be.
Not difficult.
I don't think that's what it is.
Why have they made it so difficult?
What it is.
No, it's not. It's not what it is at the moment. It checks against every single mob that you pull. So if you pull 8 mobs, like it happens in the Enclave a lot, there's a table in the Enclave outside the Sentinel, which we spent weeks there trying to get a drop, which they then nerfed the next day when we got the drop. Thanks, VR. So there's a table
Not
that
bitter.
you can pull. Not bitter. We pull the table and there's 8 mobs there. The monk would always fail the feign death because one of the mobs it would fail the roll against, because you roll against every single mob that you pull. You have to pass feign death roll against every single mob, even at level 50. So it gets really, really tricky. So pulling those 8 mobs was pretty much impossible. And it was to the point where the monk would die, and then as the mobs turn around and they walk back to the table, we just pull one of them off because they have no aggro.
Pick them off one at a time.
It's just a monk
tax.
As soon
as they do this, it's going to be great.
A monk death tax.
Roll.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Monks can die, and I get a torch. It's all fine. Now on to summoner updates.
Oh my god, the summoner.
If this wasn't even enough information, we also decided to just drop a summoner update this morning about his future plans for the summoner, which... Was there a lot of new information? I feel like this was just kind of a public speaking of what he kind of already told us on the stream.
So I hadn't watched the stream. I went back because I saw the dev diary drop, and obviously everybody knows, hopefully, if you don't know, then you should. Everybody knows that as soon as a dev diary drops, I do a quick video on it and put it out and read through, give my reactions and thoughts. So I got halfway through this, and they were talking about the new spells, and it didn't seem that much of a change from the Swarm to the new kind of mana missile that it is now. Magic missile. As I keep saying. So I went to watch the stream. Actually, it looks quite cool because they've done one thing, and the one thing that they didn't mention in the Dev Diary Summoner class refresh article, which I hope you don't mind me kind of adding on to it because it's actually really important and has a lot of impact to how it feels. They've added the floating combat text when your pet hits the mob. So when he nukes, you see 119, 60. It's really satisfying because you're telling the pet to do it as well. The pet doesn't do it itself. So you're actually casting through the pet. The pet then lands on the mob. You're doing things in between the cast. So it's actually really interesting. And
it doesn't auto nuke anymore. That's what you're saying?
No.
Oh, well, that is a big change then.
From what I gather, it doesn't just auto cast. I think you can probably set it to auto cast, but I think the way Joppa was doing it and the way I'd probably try and do it is you pick which spell to do. So they have a dot, they have a little nuke, and then they have a big nuke that if it lands when the dot is still on the mob, it automatically crits, which I think is really nice. Again, it's a little bit of synergy across the abilities. The summoner can also use some of his nukes to do a bit more DPS towards the end of the mob or at the beginning of the mob or whenever he wants to. But his nukes cost more mana. So just for kind of like a quick reference, the pets spells cost about 2 mana from the stream, and then your spells cost about 20 mana. So
Oh wow.
it costs a lot more for yourself to do the nukes, but your pet can. So you get the sustained damage from the pet, and then you can burst it if you need to.
I do like the idea that it uses your mana too, because that way, as you grow, as your mana grows, then your pet becomes more powerful, which was a problem with the summoner right now, is if your stats grow, it doesn't really affect your pet that much.
Do you like the blue fire pet?
Here's my problem. I like the way it looks. I think it's fine. But, man, we spent a lot of time making it a fire pet. I feel like it's just sad.
I've started the campaign. Make the earth pet blue. Because all the other pets are blue. You may as well just make the earth pet blue as well. And just slap blue crystals on the earth pet.
Yeah, Marks keeps telling us that the water pet looks dingy now because it was developed in contrast to the other pets, right? And they were more low key, but now the blue pet's really bright. So I think you're going to have to recolor all these pets. I think you should make the water one maybe like a...
Yeah, the water's like white, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of dingy white. And I don't know. I think you're going to have to redo these. And it's just like these were like these seminal art pieces of new art that VR created. And now we're just...
new things that they did, didn't they?
Yeah, and now we're just kind of tossing them out the window and be like, nah, we're not doing that anymore. And it's just kind of like,
because I remember watching Bronson streams when he was drawing.
Yeah, he spent forever on those.
Yeah,
a lot of time, and now we're just like, I don't know.
That's kind of like their MO, though.
We've got 8.5 million reasons to do it again.
Yeah, it's 8.5 million reasons. We'll just hire 4 more artists. We'll be fine.
That's their MO, though. Spend a lot of time doing something and then just go back on it. It's fine.
Oh yeah, man. You're only hanging out with us for like 2 hours, and already your level of bitter is it's risen like 8%.
I'm allowed to be bitter
because
I'm so
one
excited.
of us.
I'm so excited. I'm usually really positive. Like I've got to get some bitterness out somewhere.
We bring the worst out of people.
Before you leave, we've one final word. Before you've forgotten all that you've heard, there is a moment evergreen. Stay here a while and listen to me.
All right, boys, 8.5 hours later, several migraines, some falafeling, and a couple of redos. Here we are at the end.
I'm going to have to cut 7 of these questions out. It's going to be terrible.
If the taco thing didn't make it in, I'm going to be pissed. That's all I have to say about that.
Please don't cut my rants out. I put so much effort into my rants. I'm so tired. So tired.
This is why I just stay quiet. The more I'm quiet, the more of your rants stay in. So you're welcome.
Well, we want to thank Diabolu for coming today. We had so much fun. We feel like he's basically a part of the show. At some point, I'm kicking Damos off, and it'll just be me and him. It's going to be great.
You are welcome.
Everyone needs to go subscribe to his channel. He's making videos. He's putting them out. He's like day of video guy now. He's like, it drops, he makes a video. Like he stops his entire life. I don't know what else he's got going on. Probably not much.
Diabolu's the better Krispy Kreme.
Yes.
Like that guy sucks.
Yes, he is.
And
yes, he is.
Oh, that's off air talk.
You cannot say that.
Well, I can't. It's my show.
You can because he edits.
All right. Well, make sure that you go subscribe to his channel. It's down below in the links. Make sure you give him a follow. Watch his videos. Watch that mastery video. Love that mastery video. He's got some good insight. We are ready to move forward. Forward, never backward. We're on to spring, and we'll see what happens, boys.
Thanks so much, Diabolo. Appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. Yep. It's a lot of fun. We'll definitely have you back. This was good.
Excellent. Look forward to it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.